Hello, Professor Toybox here along with Princess Jasmine, and today I'm going to build the Agrabah Palace interior. This is the first interior toy box that I've ever built for a series, and I know some of you have been asking for tutorials about the interior toy box, so this video is for you. The palace interior is such a simple toy box that I'm actually going to build this whole thing in one video, believe it or not. Now, I created the interior toy box back in episode 25 so that I could bring the interior toys out for Jafar's tower. And if you want to see how to create an interior toy box using the toy box store, I encourage you to go back and watch episode 25 around the 21-minute, 15-second mark, because today I'm starting with an existing toy box. So if you want to see how to create it, go back to that episode and watch it. As we get started today, there's a couple of things I need to do out here in the city toy box before we move inside. And the first thing is I want to set up a locator out here where we're going to be coming outside of the palace. So there's going to be a toy box door in the interior that will lead back outside. And I want to set a locator up so that we can tell it where to come to. And this is the locator that we're going to use. And I'm going to open the properties up. And I'm going to set the door destination tag to be 3. Number 1 was used for the palace dungeon. Number 2 we used a couple of videos ago for the exit from the desert. And then number 3 is going to be this one. Okay, so that locator is there and ready to go now for out here. The other thing we need to do is come back to our command center, which is over underneath the starting pad. And I want to come down to the toy box door for the interior that we added a couple of episodes ago. And I want to come into the properties for that. And in here, right now, the destination locator tag is set to none. And I want to set this, and I'll explain why in a few minutes when we get inside. But for right now, I'm going to set this to 1. This is going to be for a locator on the interior, which I haven't placed yet. Okay, so now we're all set out here, and we're ready to go inside. So I'm going to save my toy box, and then I will go through this interior door, and I'll meet you there in just a moment. Okay, here we are in the interior toy box. If you haven't gone through the tutorials in the My Interior area of the Toy Box Hub, that's the best place to start. I'm going to assume that you've done that and that you're familiar with some of the basics of the interior toy box, like setting the walls and floor styles and placing rooms and that sort of thing. So if you haven't done that, pause this video and go do that. You'll learn a lot, and by doing the missions in there, you can unlock a lot of sidekicks and other great toys. So I highly recommend that. Now, before I begin, I want to talk about some of the limitations of the interior toy box, because that's going to directly impact what I'm able to build, and I think it will help explain why I'm building this toy box the way I'm building it. So the first thing is when you create a brand new interior toy box, it's always going to start with this room. And you'll notice it's kind of a weird shaped room. Let me come out of here into spark mode so that you can get a good look at this. So it's kind of a funny shape, and unfortunately you can't remove the starting room or change it to be a different shape, so you're stuck with this room. Second, another limitation is that we cannot move this toy box door, or any creativity toy for that matter, to another room. Once a toy is placed in that room, it's there to stay. But we can use a locator to tell the door that we just came through where we want to go. And that's why I set the destination locator tag on the toy box door before we came through it. Now the third limitation is that you cannot place toys outside of the rooms. So I can't stick any creativity toys out here beyond the wall where they can't be seen. Everything you place has to be inside of a room. And so that means we're kind of stuck with this room for all kinds of reasons. But since I don't want this starting room, and I can't get rid of it, I'm going to use it as the holding area for the creativity toys that I'm going to need later on. So every creativity toy I place, I'm going to dump it in this room. So what I'm going to do is connect this room to the rooms that I do want And then to hide the Creativity toys, I'll seal off this room from the rest of the toy box. Now, since the toy box door is over there, I'm going to build off of this door here. And so we'll come over and place a long hall over here connected to that. And of course these connect just like the rail slides and the racetrack pieces. The little connecting icon there tells you when they're connected. So we'll start with that, and then the next room that I want, let me grab my notes here, is the 4-door room B, which is this guy. So this is going to be the throne room. And I'm going to connect up my little hallway to this door right there. So Jafar's throne, oops, I don't know what that just did. Okay, so Jafar's throne will be on the far side of the room over there. Then I'm going to place another long hall off of that door. And connected to that, we're going to put in the square stairway, and I'm going to connect the upper door to that hallway like that. Oh, did it again. This interior toy box is just so buggy. It's one of the reasons I dislike working with it, but nothing I can do about it. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and place a room down here. This is the room that we're going to start in. And I'm going to place another one of those rooms back over here. This will be where the Sultan is at. Okay, so there's our interior. That's the entire interior toy box right there. And you can't build too much bigger than this. You can build a little bit bigger, but the room available in the interior toy box, the space available, is much smaller than the exterior. So, all right, and then we'll come to one of the rooms, and let's go ahead and style it. So I'm going to press the X on my Wii U to open the palette, and I'm going to go ahead and apply, actually I'm going to theme all for the Agrabah Palace walls. That comes up by default. So we'll theme all of the rooms to use that. For the light fixtures, I'm going to use the Beast's Castle lights, and again I'll theme all. That'll change all the lights in all the rooms. For the floor, Agrabah Palace floor, again I'll theme all. It's kind of nice that those textures are right there by default. And for the trim, again the Agrabah Palace accents, so I will theme all again. Then we're back to the wall. So I'll exit out of this, and so now we have all of the rooms styled the way we want. This is going pretty quick, which is great. Alright, so with that done, let's go ahead and put a few furnishings in here, and we don't really need a whole lot, just enough to make it look like the rooms aren't completely barren. So we're going to come into the drawers here, and let's go up to, let's start with the rugs. And I'm going to place a rug right here off of this door. And about like that. That's pretty good. So we'll drop that one there. And we're going to put down a couple of little potted plants. I'm going to stick these in these corners here. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to line these up because the camera, I end up fighting the camera all the time, which is one of the things I don't like about the interior toy box. See, I can only rotate that far, and that's kind of frustrating. But if we have to, we can move these things again later. And if we come down to the, let's see, seating and beds, I had to reset that drawer on me. There is a little couch here for Jasmine. There it is. I kind of like the way that looks. So we're going to stick this back in this corner like this. And then there was a little ottoman or something back here that would work. And I could have put that down first, but I kind of like to see where that couch goes. And you'll notice the furniture looks pretty small compared to the rest of the room, but that's all right. The rooms are actually much bigger than they look. Okay, so there's that room, and there's nothing in this room, and you'll notice I can't move through there with this, so you can't move furniture pieces between rooms. All right, so that room is done. Let's move on to this room, because this is the room, the other room that has all the furniture that we need. So I'm going to cover up this door on the other end. If I can get this thing to come loose. It is just not going to cooperate. There we go. I had to switch it to something else. See what I mean about this being so buggy? It's kind of frustrating. Alright, so let's see. I know I want some windows in here. And I'm going to place one right over here on this wall. I'll try to center this somewhat. And I'll put it off to the side a little bit, because actually I want to put a light fixture in here a little bit later. And then I'm going to put another one over on this side, over here. And this one we will kind of center this a little bit. That's close enough. And then under accent and decor, I'm going to go left. And here we have the Agrabah Palace corners. And so what I want to do is build the little cubby hole here where the throne is going to go. And I'm going to put this back as far as I can to try to cover up that door. And I want to try to center this. I'm going to put 4 of these down. So I want this piece to be as close to center over that archway as I can get it. And then we'll rotate it, put another one right here. And then I'm going to rotate it again. Put another one out there. To slide this out a little bit. We're going to have to move these around just a tad. Okay, this one I think is off a little bit. Yeah, maybe not. Let's come out of spark mode here and take a look. And of course it always dumps you back in the room you were in originally. Unlike the exterior toy box, it doesn't remember where you are. Yeah, see, so we've got some gaps here. So I want to move those a little bit closer if I can. One of the tricks you can use in the interior, I usually don't like using the magic wand, but in the interior, somebody gave me this little tip. This actually works a lot better in the interior. Especially for selecting things like Creativa toys and such. And it looks like that one's back a little bit further than the other ones. Yeah, so I need to pull this out just a little bit. And of course this thing just fights me the whole way. There we go. It's just the camera in here is so unintuitive. It's really frustrating. Alright, let's see how that looks. That does not look too bad. Well, yes it does. Those pieces are a little bit off. And see, it moves it on me. I didn't even touch it. And yet it moved it. And I can't really get in a position where I can see. I think it's got to go back a little further. But at any rate, you're going to try to get this thing lined up and flush all the way across the front. It makes it hard to make adjustments because as soon as you pick the piece up, it moves the piece even though I haven't moved the piece, which is just frustrating beyond all get out. See, I pick it up and now it moves it. This time it moved it left. There we go. I think I got to come out a little bit further. Let's try it there. So it's very finicky. That one I got. That's good. And then this one, I can go ahead and adjust that offline. You get the idea. Okay, so now that we have that, the next thing I want to do is put in some pillars. And I'm basically just trying to keep two things. I'm trying to keep the player from getting behind there where they can see that door. But secondly, in the movie, you may remember they had a ring of pillars around the throne. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, is get these things to line up a little bit. And we'll stick another one back in this corner, kind of like that. And again, I wish I could get the camera all the way around so I can get a good look at where that's placed. But it's just... it's one of the reasons I hate working with the interior toy box. Most of the controls and everything on the exterior toy box are fine. I really like the way that works. It's intuitive. It makes sense. Whoever coded the interior just, I don't know, whoever designed and coded it just did not do a great job in my opinion. Of course, I used to be a software developer, so I'm very opinionated when it comes to that. All right, let's go to the left, and I'm looking now for the throne, Agrabah Palace throne, and that's going to sit right in front of the opening there. Try to get that as centered as I can get it, even though I can't really see. I can't get the camera to go in the place where I want it to be. That looks centered. And it can't go back any further. So that's perfect right there. Alright, so I've got the windows, I've got the throne and the pillars. The last thing I want to put in, little finishing touches here, are some lights. So if we come into this lighting drawer and we go to the right, we have these Agrabah Palace sconces. So we're going to put some of these around here. We'll put one there. We'll see if we can center one out on this wall here. If it will let me, it's about the best I can do there. Put another one over here. Like that. And then I think, I don't think I put any on this wall. Nope, I did not put any on that wall. Probably because I couldn't. Got this little weird area there. And you're probably wondering why I use this room for this shape, when the palace room in the interior toy, or in the movie, is actually more round. That's because we don't have any round pieces, unfortunately. I'm going to stick these back here on either side of the throne to give it a little bit of decoration. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and exit, I think. Yeah, the palace throne room was round, but I don't have any round rooms. So this is the closest I can get. That's the best I can do with what I've got to work with. And that looks really good. I like that. So now we've got the sconces, we got pillars. There's pillars automatically placed on the walls here on the corners. So this is not looking too bad as far as I can make it anyway with the pieces that I've got to work with. Alright, so we built the rooms, we styled them, we've added furnishings. Let's do a couple more things and then we'll be done. So back into the drawers, and I'm going to come down to the Creativitoys. And of course it reset that drawer on me too. So I'm going to go to the right till I find the locator. And once again, I can't place this thing outside of this room. It will not let me go down that hall. So let's go back into spark mode, I guess. And I want to place my locator out here. And let's see exactly where I put this. Alright, so about the center of the room. And you'll notice it's pointing in that direction, the little blue dot. And I want it to be pointing towards me into the room. And I'm trying to turn this and it will not let me turn it. And one of the things I discovered, somebody was pointing out to me, was that the dot here in the interior toy box actually points to where the player is. So that's why I decided to stay up here instead of running down there first, because I wanted to show you that. So now if I come over here into this room and I come back into the editor, now you'll notice it's pointing that little blue dot towards where Jasmine is standing. And so I wanted to show you that little trick because it can be frustrating when you're trying to place your toys, and some of them, like the locator here, are very dependent on the orientation that you place it. And so this way, this is how you get around that problem. And now I'm going to select this with Spark Mode and go into the Properties. And on the toy box door in my little command center under the city, I had set the destination to 1. And so I'm going to set that same thing here. And so when I go through that door now coming from the city, it's going to put me here at that locator instead of up in this room, which is great. Now I cannot move this toy box door to put it down there, so we're going to have to put a second toy box door in here. And I could put a trigger area here and connect the trigger area to that other toy box door, but the trouble is this door then, there's nothing there to make that look any different from that door or that door. So I need some way to know that this is in fact the exit. So this is one of the times, even though I really don't like using the interior toy box or the toy box door directly, I'm actually going to do that because this will tell the player that this is the way to get out of this toy box. So I'm going to place that, and then we'll come into the properties for this, and it's already set to my Agrabah build toy box. That's the toy box name for the exterior. I'm going to set the destination locator tag to number 3. That was the locator I placed at the very start of the video, right outside the palace doors. And so by setting that to 3, that means when I go through this toy box door, I'll end up right outside the palace in the city. And so that's perfect. And I can actually go ahead and demonstrate that because we're pretty much done in here for today. So I'm going to go ahead and save my toy box, and then I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, here we are. I've just saved my toy box. Now we'll go back through this door and travel back, and I'll fast forward one more time and meet you there in just a moment. Okay, here we are back in the city, and it's placed us back out here in front of the palace door where I placed that locator at the start. So there we are. So our interior toy box is done, and whoa, we got some guards coming up. Take that. She's got some karate moves.
And don't come back.
So anyway, now we have our interior toy box, and we can come and go in and out of this toy box in the place where I want the player to come and go. So that's really good. Next time, we'll start working on the logic for the first phase of the final battle with Jafar, and we'll see how to use the Creativitoys in the interior toy box. Until then, I want to thank you for watching my video today. I hope it helped, and I hope it answered some of the questions you may have had about the interior toy box. If there's a question you have about it that I didn't address today, leave me a comment to let me know. I'll try to help as best I can. I will eventually get to the interior toy box in my toy box tutorial series, but it's going to be a while. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel or follow me on my blog if you haven't already done that so you don't miss the next episode. That's it for me today. See you next time.